we started initially treating Belinda. She was a summa cum laude, top of her class, graduate in physical therapy, 1976, so it's been a while. Developed cervical cancer and had radiation therapy, a significant amount of it, and surgery.
30 years ago.
Wow.
30 years ago. So she developed a lot of adhesions. Initially, we started trying to develop work just to treat her and to treat her adhesions. After doctors said, there's nothing we can do for that. You just have to learn to live with the pain. We've cured your cancer. What do you want from us? So
I was 36. That was not acceptable.
No.
Just getting married. So we took a lot of courses in the U.S. and in France, in a medical school there, to treat adhesions, pelvic adhesions for Belinda. After about a year and a half, she was doing great, out of pain. She no longer had pain when she moved and she breathed. And we started treating people with adhesions. At the time, we weren't thinking at all of endometriosis. When we started treating patients with adhesions, patients with endometriosis started saying, oh my God, my period came. I didn't even know it was coming. It's the first time I haven't been curled in a ball for 3 days that I can remember since puberty.
Well, adhesions are a natural part of the healing process after surgery, trauma, infection, or inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So every month when a woman has endometriosis, she bleeds and gets endometrial implants where they're not supposed to be.
Mm.
So the body sees that as foreign. So the body lays down adhesions, which are basically internal scars, trying to heal the body from any kind of tissue trauma after surgery or any of those things.
But if you don't have endometriosis, I don't see why one would develop adhesions.
If you have surgery, if you've been in a car accident, had a bad fall, sports injuries, had a lot of vaginal infections, bladder infections,
okay,
those sorts of things. Adhesion formation is a natural part of the healing process.
Mm.
And the way they form is sort of like a spider web. Wherever they form, they start sticking to anything and everything in the vicinity, which can start binding things down, causing pain, and decreasing the ability of whatever organs they're bonded to, decreasing the ability of the organs to function at 100% normal efficiency.
Okay. So tell us about Clear Passage Physical Therapy. What exactly is it and how does it work?
We do hands-on therapy. We feel for where the soft tissues and the organs in the abdomen and the pelvis have restricted mobility. Before a woman had periods and had endo, before anyone's had surgery or infections, the organs and the tissues are supposed to be able to move over and around each other freely as they function and as you do all your daily activities. So when things become adhered and stuck together, it starts causing pain. So with our hands, we check for where there's free versus restricted mobility of the tissues and the organs, and we'll stretch those restricted areas or structures in the direction they don't want to go, and we'll hold the stretch as long as it takes till the adhesions eventually start to deform and give way. So it's as if we're turning the body clock back in time before the endo, before the surgery, before the infections, so things can move more freely, so symptoms get better and go away, and organs are able to function better, and women who aren't able to get pregnant are able to become pregnant because we've freed up whatever adhesions are binding their uterus or ovaries or tubes.
Okay.
As far as Clear Passage Physical Therapy itself, we're a network of clinics. We're presently just in the U.S. We have 6 U.S. locations. People come for a week at a time. They come on Monday morning and they're done on Friday afternoon. We're looking at opening with good manual physical therapists in other countries around the world, presently looking at Toronto and London.
Okay.
But they have someone down under where you are. So we interview, and I think our therapists average 23 years of experience.
Wow.
So we're looking for really highly qualified manual therapists. So
Does it hurt? Like if you have, sort of quite severe adhesions that are quite tight and strong, would that hurt?
We tried to create the situation where the patient is a member of the treatment team. So we educate her. We like her to give us her feedback. She, Larry or Belinda, you're getting up to about a 6 or 7 there now. Can you back? Okay, now you're at a 3. That's great for me. So we stay as a team and work within everyone's tolerance level.
Well, anytime you get cut, any kind of surgical procedure where there's tissue trauma, adhesion formation is a natural part of the healing process. So if women get surgery, an exploratory lap to see if they have endo, because most doctors won't even diagnose endo unless they see it, that itself is creating adhesions. And then, we hear so frequently they have a follow-up surgery because they have pain from adhesions. And then, so that cuts away some of the adhesions, but it creates new ones. So it creates like a vicious cycle.
So basically, every time you have surgery, you're actually giving your abdominal area more adhesions, which is sort of
absolutely.
Ironic.
Yes. And it gets to the point where you just can't keep cutting. You can't keep having surgeries because it becomes this dense forest of adhesions.
I actually had 7 operations because basically every year and a half they would say, well, you've got to go back in because the endometriosis would have spread, and that was my treatment program for that time. And yeah, it was literally like clockwork, a year and a half, and the pain would come back, and they would have another operation. And I thought that was totally normal, until I obviously did my own research and realized, well, that's actually contradictory to what you're trying to heal. Here you are. What are your thoughts on like excision surgery? And there's more these sort of advanced forms now.
Look, I will tell you this, that the medical literature, so surgeons can be brilliant. I mean, they can be highly skilled, and certainly most of them have their hearts in the right place and they want to help. But the medical literature is replete with data that shows that 55 to 100% of pelvic surgeries in women cause adhesions. So even though, it's just really just like your experience, they can cut and they can get rid of those adhesions, but when they've cut and burned in the area, the body then has to heal from that. So that's what you experience. I was at a conference in National Institutes of Health in the U.S. here, put on a conference, and I was with the director of the Endometriosis Association here in the U.S., and a physician came up to her and said, I'm so excited, I finally figured out a cure for endometriosis. And she and I both said, well, that's great, what is it? He said, and I'm sure he's a well-intentioned surgeon, but this was his philosophy. He said, if I cut so deeply into an organ that I know I've gotten to the bottom of all of it, then I think I've really cured the endometriosis. So surgeons can get a little myopic, and so each woman has to make her own decisions about what makes sense for her.
So can you share some of your experiences with women who have had endometriosis and using your type of therapy? I mean, there are, really severe cases of endometriosis where it's literally spread, right across even into other parts of the body. I mean, what is your sort of success rate and like what sort of experiences have women had with using your therapy?
We're about to publish a 10-year study of treating 1,400 infertile women, a lot of whom had endometriosis, and it's categorized by diagnosis. So I can't share all of that because the publications don't allow us to give that information out publicly until it's published. They want to be the first ones that come on that. But I remember back in the very beginning, we were treating a woman. She was the wife of a referring physician. She had been infertile for 12 years. Her infertility file was about 3 centimeters thick, about 1.5 inches thick. she had only one fallopian tube and it was blocked. The other one had been removed. Multiple surgeries for endometriosis. She was 41, about at menopause, and our physician friend said, do you think you can help her pain at least? And she can't, because we knew she only had one tube and it was totally blocked, and she was totally adhered with endo. So we treated her, and to her surprise and ours, not only did her pain go away completely, but she became pregnant and had a beautiful little girl. I just saw her the other day. She's 22 now, so I guess we've been doing this for a while.
I remember one of the first women that I remember treating with very severe endo. Like, ever since she had periods, she would miss 4 days of school and then of work a month. 2 days when she ovulated and the first 2 days of her period. Her pain was so severe she would black out. I mean, she was totally dysfunctional. And we got her to the point where she was so shocked that she didn't even realize she had a period coming on.
Wow.
She was blown away. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a real eye opener for us, and very educational.
We were seeing a lot of success with pain and with infertility with these patients, and a woman called up Belinda early on and said, Belinda, has anybody ever reported anything unusual to you? And she said, well, what do you mean? And the woman said, well, it's kind of embarrassing. Well, are you going to tell me or not? The woman said, yeah, but she said, since you've treated me, I've had orgasms like I've never had in my life before. And Belinda, being an appropriately conservative PT, said, well, is that okay? The woman said, yeah. She said, but it was just so extraordinary, I just wanted to tell you. So this kept happening over and over again. So at this time, we were opening blocked fallopian tubes, we were treating endometriosis, we were doing all these things that were already kind of out there. And I said, Belinda, just don't even mention that. We just don't want to go there.
Well, it's one of it's a fantastic side effect that,
Okay, wait, there's more. So we were at dinner with the chief of staff of the hospital, who's a research gynecologist, who had been a doubter in the beginning and said, let me see your report results. And he said, oh my God, you're doing things with your hands I don't think I could do surgically. So we happened to mention this cute anecdote to him, and he said, you're kidding. He said, that's really important. He said, it is? And he said, well, yeah. He said, there's nothing in medicine that increases sexual function for women. And we, with pain, we just generally give them desensitizing agents or a painkiller, or we'll send them to a psychiatrist.
Or tell them to drink a glass of wine.
So he said, we need to publish studies on this. So we did some studies, and we presented to this huge conference, American Society of Reproductive Medicine. It's published in Fertility and Sterility, on improving sexual function, desire, arousal, lubrication, orgasm, satisfaction, and pain are the 6 measurable domains. And we improved all 6 of them statistically very significantly. So that's just we have to warn people that, you're liable to have toe curling orgasms. Yeah. Not everybody does, but some people do. Quite a few do.
So how long would, obviously it varies a little bit depending on the severity, but how long would you typically need to come in for? How many sessions?
A typical treatment session, and all of our data and all of our studies are based on 20 hours of therapy. Mm-hmm. Most people fly in on the weekend. We start Monday morning, receive 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, and they fly home the next weekend.
Wow. And
we also teach our patients self-help techniques in a home program.
Okay.
So if they spend not long, 10 minutes a day, working on themselves, it will allow them to maintain the improvements and the improvability that they gain with the treatment. Our goal is to educate people and give them enough tools that they can do things to themselves so they don't need to keep coming back to us.
Oh, perfect.
They're pretty easy things.
Yeah, perfect.
In endometriosis, you, Melissa, are at the forefront, as we are, for investigating what helps. It is core to your life and to the life of the people that attend your website, as it is I'd love to retire, but we can't. We're just so fascinated with what we're doing. It's so horrible to see people in pain. It's so gratifying to see them get out of pain that physicians are trained to use surgery and to use drugs that have passed all the drug tests of the large pharmaceutical companies, and that's great. I mean, they're bailiwick, but for those women like yourself and your website visitors and the patients that we see that are on the front lines every day, if there's something that you see that is non-invasive, that's not going to hurt you, that's either a therapy or a gel or a substance or a food that you think may help, please check it out and report back to the rest of us and talk more. And thank you for your great work.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for having us. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.